Hello friends, this is Durga again from IT a one-stop shop to learn all the technologies. So at this time we are talking about the Hive. We are in the middle of the workshop, Big Data Certifications, and we are actually talking about Hive. So let me, as you guys know, this is the backup for my WebEx audience, live audience, and hence let me start that session and then we'll take it from there. Okay. So I hope you guys can see my screen. I'm starting the recorder. So hello friends. So let's resume on Hive. We are in the middle of discussing about analytic functions. And if you recollect, actually I wrapped up analytical functions. I have explained a couple of examples on analytical functions, which is very, very important. And I have given exercise yesterday. And if you have any questions on that exercise, let me know. Otherwise, we will proceed further. Okay. No. Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay, so it's Hive, right? So let me log into the lab now. Yeah. I'm launching Hive. Oh, is there a function called ratio to report? Okay, okay. So let me open the other one. This is the one. Okay, so here let me break this query and then first let us troubleshoot whether it is working properly or not without the function. Okay, so here, okay, this one will work. Oh, I need to understand your database name. What is the database name you are using? Use. What is the database name, Ravi? Hello, Ravindra. Okay, I got it. Ravindra retail underscore DB, and then paste the query. So it looks good. This query, there is no issues. So now I will tell you what mistake you are doing. Okay. So one of the rule when you use group by, right? The rule is you have to only specify the columns which are specified as part of the group clause, and you need to have aggregate functions. So up to this it is valid, but this is not traditional aggregate function. So you cannot actually use it like this. Okay. So if you want to if you want to get the results more appropriately, so what will happen? One way of dealing with it is just say sum of order item subtotal, and then say let me understand the problem statement. The problem statement is get percentage of. Let me finish off this Ravindra's issue, then I will take yours, Sunil. Okay, so this is okay. So this is the get percentage of each category by revenue within each department. Okay, so first we have to get the revenue. So this is nothing but revenue by category. Okay, so this is correct. Now what you have to do, you have to use it. You have to treat it as a subquery. There is no other way. We cannot actually try to write windowing functions directly here. There is a way, but it is way too complicated. Rather, we have to include this in the subquery. Okay. So on this, we have to start using the windowing functions. Okay. How to get the revenue by each department? By just adding the revenue by category, we can get the revenue by each department. So we can say department name, category, ID. Okay. Now I can say sum of revenue by category. Okay. And I want to get it over department name, partition by department name. I'm not sure about the function you are using. There could be an alternative way also, but if you think about the flow, this is how you should follow. First, you got the revenue by department and category. Okay, let's use category name rather than ID. Okay, now you got the revenue for each department and also revenue by each category, which is already a valid column here from the inner query, right? So first let us see whether this will work or not. Okay, I'm running this. Invalid table alias department name. Okay, there is a typo. Yeah. Okay, now you got the category, sorry, the department, category, and this is category revenue, and this is total department revenue. Now I just have to divide this one with divide this one with this one and multiply by 100 to get the percentage of the category revenue within each department. Okay, so let's try how to implement that. So let's say I just want we can say revenue by category divided by, because this worked on Oracle when we actually did it in Oracle, and this approach worked. I just divided the revenue by category with the output of the windowing function, which will get the revenue by department. Okay. Now I want to multiply this with 100 to get the percentage. Okay. PCT revenue. We will just give this name to keep it simple. Okay, now let us try running this. If it works, it works. Otherwise, we have to think about alternative. It is working. So let's see the results. Yeah, I had, okay, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Into 100. Okay. If you want, you can apply round function also to just reduce the number of decimals. And to just validate, you can also say revenue by category, comma. You can also include this one. Okay. And you can run this. That will facilitate you to validate. Okay. And also the output, what is the output? Asking display the results of department name and percentage in descending order. So I just want to sort by department name and then by percentage in descending order. So I can just say order by department name and then PCT revenue DESC to sort it in descending order. If you don't specify DESC, by default it's ASC. Either you can say ASC like this or you can leave it as default. Okay. Now run this query. Okay, is it clear, Ravindra, or do you have any questions over here? Okay. So you can also do it without subquery. Means you can also do it without subquery also, but it is a little bit complicated. This is better way of dealing with this scenario. And now let me take the question of Sunil. Okay, so Sunil's question is, sorry, Sunil's query is, so I think this is the first one, right, Sunil? Sunil, is this the first query? Okay. So he says, okay. So first let us understand whether this query is running or not. Okay, if it works, then we will see. I'm exiting from Ravindra's account. What is your database name, Sunil? Sorry, what is your lab ID first? First give me your lab ID, then I will go to your database name. It is not your lab ID, sudo su. Oh. Give me your lab account ID. Okay, got it. Okay, so here I am launching Hive. Use Sunil Raj, which is the database name. And let me paste that query. Okay, I need to get the query. Okay, so there is an issue with respect to department name. Hmm. So the is that the database name? I think it is complaining about the department name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. D dot department name. Okay, let me troubleshoot this. Let's select start from. Yeah, it is working. Describe departments. Department name. It's working. Then why it is complaining here? Inter Interesting. Okay, let me try this. Okay, I know why. Shoot, it's my bad. I got the problem. This is not subquery, so now it will run. Okay, so there is some other issue. Expression not in group by. So your query itself is not. Again, it's the same issue. Okay, so here you are saying O dot order date, D dot department name. That is fine. So first of all, if you have group by in it, you cannot use analytical function like this. Okay, you cannot use. You can only give the typical column names which are in group by, and then you can have the aggregate function. Only traditional aggregate functions can be there. You cannot have the analytical functions in it. So if you want to do apply analytical functions on top of it, you have to go a layer up by making this nested query, and then on the output you have to create the analytical function the same way which I have shown for Ravindra's query. So you can use this as example, and then you can improvise on it for your purpose. Okay, so especially this is open source, and when it is open source, it will give in misleading errors. Okay, so even in traditional database also, most of the time you will get misleading errors. First, you need to understand where the problem is happening. So break down into a root level component which you think that it will work, and start troubleshooting from there by adding in multiple dimensions. Sometimes it is just hierarchical. You just add more and more to the query, and you will be able to figure out. Sometimes you might have to try multiple dimensions. That's how you should troubleshoot and get the issue as early as possible. Okay, in this case, there are multiple issues. The first issue is you are clubbing analytical function as well as regular aggregation in typical group by query, which is not valid. Okay, so first you have to fix that, and you start improvising on it. Any more questions? I will spend more time on this because this is very important. Analytical functions is in general very important. Okay, a lot of people don't understand the power of it. Especially for senior folks at architect level or tech lead, keeping analytics functions in mind can solve many serious performance issues. So Sunil, you can give a try now, and if you still run into issues, let me know. I will leave today's session for this itself, and then we will continue tomorrow. Those who are comfortable with analytical functions, you guys can drop, but others, you stay and get your issues resolved and make sure you understand this. But I'm surprised to see MySQL doesn't have analytical functions. Probably one of the database engines of MySQL might not have. Some variation of it might already have. So you can also think about other scenarios and try to improvise your skills. So I hope you guys are trying. If you don't want to try now, we'll proceed and go to the next topic, which is sorting. I will wait for a couple of more minutes, and if you don't have any questions, and if you already tried, or if you don't want to try, we'll go ahead with ordering and sorting. I hope no one is dropped, because I mentioned that I will give rest of day today for analytical functions or for this exercise. If no one is dropped, we will continue, and we will also talk about sorting the data, which is another very, very important topic in Hive. So let us start. It seems there are no questions. Probably you might have successfully tried, or you might want to try later. So we'll talk about sorting the data. Already we have seen how to sort the data using order by. And before getting into before getting into other options, let us understand the caveats of using order by. And before actually getting into that also, let's understand typical use cases where sorting is required. Okay. Typical use cases can be categorized into global sorting and by key sorting. Okay, what is the example of global sorting? Let's say you have Walmart, which is one of the top stores in US. It has around 4,500 stores, and if you just want to see which store is performing better, so if you just want to compute the revenue and then sort by the revenue, you have to, it is considered as global sorting, so that you get the name of stores sorted by revenue in descending order or ascending order, whatever way you want. There are several examples of global sorting where it is relevant. For example, if you want to know the most populated states in US, or most populated county in US, what you will do, you have to aggregate data by county to see which county, what is the density of each county, or how many people are living in each county, and then you will sort by descending order or ascending order by the count, and you will be getting the data sorted by the population in the county across the state. It is also a global sorting use case. And then there are by key sorting. So for example, instead of getting most populated county in the entire US, if I just want to see the most populated county within each state, or I just want to get the data within each state, I just want to get the county information sorted by number of population living in that state, living in that county. So here I don't want to get see the results by sorting data by county, by the number of people living in each county. Instead, what I have to do, first within the state, I just have to compute the count. So this is not a global sorting scenario. This is by key sorting scenario. So the difference is the previous scenario which I have explained is to get the details about all the counties in the ascending order of the population in those counties. The second scenario is to get the details about counties within each state by the number of people living in each county, sorted by the number of people living in each county. So the difference is by state, which is nothing but a key. Think about anything. For example, again with respect to Walmart, let's say I want to see which store is performing better in each of the states. Again, we don't need to do global sorting. Within the state, we just have to apply the logic of sorting the data. Okay, when you use order by, so I have explained two scenarios. One is global sorting, and the other one is by key sorting. Okay, even though for the by key sorting, global sorting is not relevant. Still, what we'll do if I have to get the data, let me show some examples here. Okay, we will use this same query, and here I want to, not this one, which one is working? Ravindra's query. Where is the query given by Ravindra? I think I deleted it. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so now if you see, if you see here, even in this scenario, right, we just need the percentage of revenue within each department, and then sort the data by percentage of revenue in descending order within each department. So even though it is not, we cannot just say this order by percentage revenue will be, it will sort the entire data in descending order by percentage revenue. So we cannot use this query. Hence, we have to add department name. What will happen? So department, when you add this as part of order by, even though it is not relevant to sort the data by department name, for us, we just want to get the department name, and within each department name, I just want to get the data in the descending order by percentage revenue. That is my scenario. Whether you sort it you sort the data by department name or not, it's not that relevant. It's not that important. But as there is no other option, we have to use order by. So what order by does? It actually does global sorting that on department name, which is not required for this case. Okay. So and if you get into the complexity of sorting, sorting is never linear. Okay, and it follows the logarithmic. I think order of log n or something. I'm not very comfortable with those terminology. I think order of log n is the complexity of the sorting, which means that the more data you have to sort, the time will exponentially grow. Okay, so for example, if you try to sort 1000 rows, if it is taking 1 second, and if you try to sort 10,000 rows, instead of sorting that data in 10 seconds, it might take 15 seconds or 20 seconds or even more. So it will not, the increase in the time will not be linear based upon the amount of the data that needs to be sorted. Okay, and irrespective of the algorithm you use, unless the data is pre-sorted, even if you use merge sort and all, unless the data is pre-sorted, it will not actually scale up linearly. So somewhere or the other, you have to pay the price to sort the data globally. So initially, so let us run this query and see how it is executing. Okay. Okay, I have to use Ravindra's account, so I'm coming out of this. Exit, sudo su get Ravi. Okay. and then Hive. Just trying to figure out the database name. Thank you. I thought it will be only 5 or 10 lines, but I think we have ran, probably you might have ran several queries. Use Ravindra underscore retail underscore DB. Okay. So now let us see how this query runs. It is running in 2 jobs. Now it is running the first job. And you can see the number of reducers that are being executed. It is using only one reducer. And now it is running the second job. And number of reduced tasks determined is 1. Okay, so it sorted the data. It took 47 seconds. Now let us try to increase the number of reducers. I think it is map reduce dot top dot reducers is the parameter. Yeah, it is. You see, the value is set to -1, which means that based on the input data, it will try to determine the number of reducers. That is set by Hive engine. It is overridden by Hive engine. On the cluster, it actually determined by the parameter in map.set.xml with the same name. Okay, so on cluster it could be different, but Hive actually override that to -1, which means that number of reducers are actually determined by the Hive engine itself based on the file size. Okay, now let us try to change it to 4, and now let us run the query. I'm running the same query. Only thing is the number of reducers is set to 4. Now the first job, it is actually running with 4 threads as expected. Because we have set the number of reducers to be 4. Now the second job, it is actually running only 1. The reason is we have order by clause in the query, and it has to do the global sorting, and it will only use one reducer irrespective of the data that needs to be sorted. So which means that if only one reducer try to process the entire data, the time it can become bottleneck, right? But how many departments we have? Select star from departments. So if we compromise the sorting of the department name, which is not required, and if we can actually sort the data only on the percentage revenue, then we can actually increase, we can add the distribution power, distributed computing power for that query. Okay, so to compromise that global sorting, you can just say sort by here. Okay, so instead of order by, we are actually using sort by. And let us run this query now. I'm not sure with the analytical functions if whether it will work or not, but we'll give it a try. Yeah, it is running. So now let us see how many threads each job will run. So the first one is taking four jobs. Sorry, 4 tasks for the reducers. Once the first phase is done, we will see the second phase, and we will see how many threads it will take. Now you can see number of reducers is actually taken as 4 because sort by key can distribute your data. Okay. Only caveat is instead of globally sorting the data, it will sort by department name and uh, and then percentage revenue in descending order. Yes, it is using the default value which was set to 4. Okay, now one important thing which you need to understand is here you see the data is not actually sorted properly. You cannot directly use sort by like this. Okay, what you have to do is you have to say distribute by department name. Okay, and then because why we should not use sort by like this, the reason is it is now sorting, it is now using the combination of this as the key. Okay, hence it will not work. So if you want to if you say distribute by department name and then sort by department name and PCT revenue descending, let me run this, and if there is any issue we will again try to fix this. But this is not how you want to see the result, right? If you look into this, the data is randomly displayed, which is not the way it should be. Just give me a moment, okay? Hello. Okay, I think I am not correct. Even sort by is giving the results properly only. So let me first validate. No, it is not giving. So you can see the outdoors here. Okay, and then outdoors here. Probably data might be sorted in descending order, but it's not displayed properly. So what we can do is we can use distribute by like this, and let us see if it works. No, that's not correct, Ravindra. Let me explain you. If it works, I will explain you. Okay. Now you see data is in proper order. Okay. You can actually look at the golf, and this is the women apparel is the highest revenue generating category, and then shop by sport, and then girls apparel. Okay, this actually constitutes 68%. So now the data is proper, and if you see the way job is executed, number of reducers is decided to be 4. So why we should not use just sort by, especially if there are multiple keys on which we want to distribute the data. If you use sort by, it will take this complete thing as key. Okay, I will come back to cluster by and all in a moment. Okay, and then as the combination will become a key, you will run into the issues. So here we are actually forcing the department name to be the key. So within the department name, I want to sort by percentage revenue in descending order. So I have to say distribute by department name, sort by department name, comma, percentage revenue, and then it will give you the results as expected. And if you sometimes you might want to use the distribute by whatever keys you have mentioned as part of the distribute by as part of the sort by the distribute by clause and sort by clause, if both are same, then you can use a shortcut called cluster by, and then you will get the results uh, in that scenario. Instead of saying distribute by department name comma percentage revenue and then sort by department name comma percentage revenue, you can just say cluster by department name comma percentage revenue. So in that, cluster by can only be used in a scenario where the columns specified in the distribute by clause and sort by clause are same. Otherwise, you should not use cluster by. Okay, in this case, we cannot use cluster by because we have to distribute by department name, and then within the department name, we want to sort in percentage, sort by percentage revenue in descending order. I think you can also remove department name here and try running this, and we will see. Yeah, I'm trying that only, Rohit. Okay, so it is very important to validate. Don't make any assumptions and confirm. Make sure you validate. Last time when we run just by sort by, we got the results skewed. It actually did not return the data in proper format. When I add distribute by, it actually uh, gave the results. Now we are trying to see if we can remove the column name which is specified as part of the distribute by from sort by, and if it have any impact. Okay, so you cannot use. So you have to specify both. You have to specify both department name as well um, as revenue. Sorry, yeah. As part of the sort, you have to specify both department name as well as percentage revenue. If you just say percentage revenue, you see here you got goals, fitness, 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 and then you got golf here, which is not correct. Okay, so we have to use distribute sort by department name comma percentage revenue. Okay, we will see again as part of the performance tuning tips, we will see the relevance of sort by. Again, the main difference is sort by can give distributed power, distributed horsepower to your query in case you have to perform by key sorting. Okay, if you have to do global sorting, the only option is to use order by, but it will be single threaded and it can become contention while processing significant amounts of data. Unless it is inevitable, you should not use order by, especially with Hive. Okay, so this is actually giving results correctly. Any question here? So Ravindra, you mentioned that we should use inside this. No, that is not correct because we are trying to sort after getting the percentage. We have to do it outside only. I think even inside even this inner query, you by saying distribute by department name, and let us see whether it will work. Yeah. So See, another advantage of distribute by is, so by default, right, when you write the query, um, Hive will determine whatever Hive will determine based upon its own assumptions after compiling the query on which field the data has to be partitioned. So if you recollect the shuffle and sort phase, right? As part of shuffle and sort, what are the things it will do? Can you guys recollect? There are 4 things. One is combiner, which is 4th one. But there are 3 other things which will happen as part of the shuffle and sort. Can you guys recollect? As part of shuffle and sort phase, in the map reduce, there are 4 things that it will perform. One is combining the data, which will not happen all the scenarios, but the other 3 will happen in almost all the scenarios. Yeah, one is grouping. Ravindra is correct. Aggregation is not correct, Himanshu. Second one is partition by. And third one is sort by. Okay. So the first one is group by. Second one is partition by. And third one is order by the key within that group. Okay. So all the keys will be, means all the values with respect to one key will be grouped together. And then there will be multiple keys within the dataset. All those keys will be partitioned by using number of reducers and hash mode algorithm using the number of reducers. And then within each bucket, the data will be sorted by key. That's what happened internally, right? So that partitioning phase, when you run a Hive query, it's nothing but map reduce, bunch of map reduce jobs, and each map reduce job has to determine some key on which data needs to be partitioned. If you do not specify using distribute by, depending upon the algorithm, it will determine the key on which data needs to be partitioned. Okay, if you want to override and tell, okay, for this query, just use this field to partition the data. Like this, in this case, even though we are grouping by department name and category name, I just want to distribute by department name for whatever reason. We will see that again at the time of performance tuning. If time permits, I will try to create a scenario and show you how we can get some advantage by using the distribute by here. So whatever it is, if you want to override the field on which data needs to be partitioned in the map, in the shuffle and sort phase for this map reduce job, you can override that using distribute by class. Okay, that's what is happening here. So this inner query will become one map reduce job if you run this. Sunil have asked a question. I will get back to that. Let me finish off this one. If we run this inner query, let us see how many map reduce jobs it will run. It is only running one map reduce job. Okay. If I say distribute by, then in that map reduce job between the map stage and reducer stage, the data will be partitioned on the department name. And again, there could be some dependency on the group by clause. So you might not be able to use some other column name than department name and category name and get the correct results, or it can also cause performance issues. So you really need to understand how it will execute internally by trial and error. Okay. So if you give some other field, probably it might not be very efficient. Here, either you have to group by department name or category name, so that you get the results properly. Okay. And then after running this, so this distribute by will only make sure that the map reduce job uses department name as key to partition the data. Okay. If I don't have this, internally Hive engine will determine what will be the key on which data needs to be partitioned. Most likely, as we have group by clause, it might use the combination of department name and category name, or it can even use primary key columns in some cases. Okay, it all depends upon the internal logic. Or I think in this case, probably it might use order ID, which actually performs the join, might be the key. Okay, by default. If you want to override, we can use distribute by. So you need to analyze the impact by changing this distribute by clause, by going through counters, and then you can actually decide which one is performing better. We will try to see at the time of performance tuning session, but you can specify the name of the column in the distribute by clause to force Hive engine to use a particular key for partitioning the data. Okay, so and then if you want to sort the data, you can also use sort by after distributing by that key, the way we have seen here. Okay, so distribute by can also be used alone, just to push on which key the data needs to be partitioned, and it also can be used with in conjunction with sort by to make sure data is distributed properly, so that data is sorted as per our expectation. Now, Sunil is asking when we can use cluster by. So let's say instead of sorting data by percentage revenue, I just want to sort the data by department for whatever reason. In some cases, we might have to do this. We distribute by one the same key, and also we sort by the same key. Okay. In that case, we can actually. So let me run this query without sort by and see how the results will be. And this sort by is very, very important for the performance tuning technique. Because most of the Hive queries, they complain on order by, saying that it's taking too much of time. And at least 70 to 80% of the scenarios, you just need to sort data by some key. Only 10 or 20% will actually require global sorting. So if you have knowledge about this sort by, you can fix most of the issues easily. What is the query I ran? Okay, just say distribute by department name. So automatically data is actually grouped because data is partitioned by the key department name. We got the results without any issues. Sometimes we might want to sort the data on the same key on which it is distributed. Okay, in that case, we can say distribute by department name, sort by department name. Instead of giving these things separately, you can just say cluster by. Cluster by is nothing but distribute by and sort by with the same set of columns. Okay, it is. I'm not sure how to reproduce a scenario and show the difference between using cluster by and distribute by. But in some scenarios, you will end up in such a situation where you have to distribute by and also sort by on the same key. In that case, you have to use cluster by. Okay, does that make sense? Or you can also say distribute by the column name as well as sort by the column name. I will try to think through a scenario where it is relevant, but for now I could not get it. Okay, so any questions here? I hope it is clear the difference between what is distributed by, what is sort by, and how we can use both to sort the data within a key. Okay, it is very, very important to understand the concept of distribute by and sort by. They are very, very good performance tuning tools. Okay, one way to compare the difference of the performance, let's say I'm running this query without distribute by. Okay, so I'm running this query. Don't ever check the time. Time is very less important. You have to focus on something called counters, which I will show now, to confirm whether distribute by is better or not having distribute by is better for this inner query, and then we will wrap up. It will take 3-4 minutes, and then I will take few questions, and then we will wrap up. So now you see it took 27 seconds. It only ran one job, and here it did not give the counters. So one thing it has given is HDFS read is this one, HDFS write is this one, but we need to actually get to something called counters. And the way we can go to counters is, I'm logging into another session here. Yeah, one way to get it is you can actually go to the job by going to this link, paste it in the URL. You all have access to resource manager, and here you can go to counters, and this counters information can actually tell which one is better. Okay, so we are talking about map and reduce, right? So with group by, I don't know why it is displaying like this. Let me refresh it again. Yeah. So with the group by, you can see map output records as 33. Okay, and reducer input records 33, and final records are 33. Okay. Now let us try with distribute by. So there are other information also. We have to focus on CPU time and few other things. Some of the information is given here also. So you can see cumulative CPU time is 16 seconds to 840 milliseconds, even though overall time is 27.424. So this is actually cumulative CPU time. Okay, so we have to focus on this. We have to focus on these numbers also, and also we can go to counters. We have to interpret this entire information to confirm which one is performing better. Okay, now I'm including distribute by in this, and let us see if there will be any difference in the counters. This is one way of benchmarking which query is performing better while giving the same results. Okay, so let me go to this job. I'm opening I have opened another tab. Okay, so job is completed. You can go to counters now. And you see the map output records is same. So it actually is not giving much difference with either of the approach. So probably you can discard distribute by P in this case. And the time taken is 26.311 seconds. And cumulative CPU is 15.72 seconds. HDFS read and write is this much and this much. So ours is very small data set, so we cannot actually figure out like this. If we have enough data set, we can actually confirm which one is better. In this case, I think it doesn't matter. And most probably because we are using group by in the query, it might be using department name itself as the partitioning column. So whether we add distribute by or not, it might not make much of a difference. Okay. So one thing is you can go through the web console of that job and then look at the counters to benchmark between multiple queries, which will actually give the same results. So that being said, If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we will wrap up for today and we'll start tomorrow. We will revisit what all are covered with respect to HiveQL, and if there is anything missing, we will try to cover those things, and we will proceed further. Okay, Ravindra, you can call me in 2 minutes. Okay, then it seems there are no more questions, so we'll catch up tomorrow. Thank you. Bye. And those who are on YouTube Live, thank you very much for joining the session. And we will continue wherever we have stopped today. And keep in mind, if you need environment to practice, we have state-of-the-art labs, which is labs.itversity.com. You can sign up, and you can see the plans. Once you sign up, the plans will be available. One is for $15 for 31 days. Other one is $35 for 93 days. And the third one is $55 for 185 days. You can choose whatever plan you are interested in, and you can start using the lab. Whether you sign up for the lab or not, if you have your own environment and if you run into any questions, still you can go to discuss.itversity.com and get your questions clarified. There are army of volunteers who are actually answering the questions. If you want, you also can be a volunteer on this and to take this to next level. And that being said, if you like this video, please click on the like button here. If you want to share with your friends, just click on share so that people in your circle come to know about our platform. And finally, if you want to provide the feedback, you can use the comment section of the video. You can just share in your social networking platform just by clicking this share button. That being said, thank you very much. Bye.